Thank you. So yeah, we have, or not we, CSC has been so kind to develop a web interface based on Open on Demand for LUMI, which we in Lost will help support. To access it, you go through your browser to www.lumi.cc.fi, where you'll be presented with your normal login options, which I will not go through here because it depends on what kind of login you have, and that will take a bit too long to explain here. In this tool, you have available to you currently only a few apps, but it's a start. And of course, we would like to hear your feedback as well of what applications you would like to see in the future. But let's start it lightly with saying that we have a file explorer where you can go in and see all your files in LUMI. Easy to access, easy to download for a quick look at what data you have. You can also get a shell on a login node if you would like to do that through your browser rather than through your computer. So you don't have to set up any SSH keys or like for this specific. You just log in and you press and you go. Next to this, we have available a desktop environment, Jupyter, Julia, TensorBoard, and Visual Studio Code. And let me just show you how that works. If you click desktop, you get a page where you can select which project you want to run it under, what partition you want to run on, and the number of cores CPU cores would like and the amount of memory you want. And of course, also a time for how long you want your system to be able to run. For the desktop environment, I would recommend you run on LumiD if you are going to use any applications that are going to use any form of visualization. Because here you will get a GPU, an A40 allocated for your job. Let's just try to launch one so we can see what it looks like. This will take a little while, but while it does that, I can explain a little bit more. There's two ways you can access the computer when it starts. You can either do it completely through a browser, which it says here no VNC connection, or there are native instructions for how you can connect directly to the instance without going through your browser, just using your native VNC client. But let's just start with the browser here so we can have a little look at what is happening. So when you log in, you get a full computer as you would, or desktop environment as you would expect. And down here in the left corner, we have a menu where we can find different applications. I think for most people, the current relevant ones will be Blender and Peer Review for visualization jobs. And I think that is mainly what we currently will recommend using these environments for. If you already know how Peer Review or Blender works, I'm not going to go into any detail about that. But it takes a little bit to start, but the applications are as you would expect. You can visualize your data based on whatever you want, and the application is available as shown here. Next to this, just gonna log off this so we don't waste any resources for other users that are currently online. Gonna cancel my session so we don't continue to use resources. That is quite important. Remember to press cancel here, because else your application will keep running and you will waste resources on your current project that you selected.
And René, could you zoom in a bit? It's quite small.
Yes, of course. Is this better?
Yes, thank you.
Of course. Let's just go back then. But we can also run, for example, Visual Studio Code if you would like to see, if you have some development you would like to do on LUMI, because you need the specific compilers, or you would like to test something and you don't want to run Visual Studio Code remote from your own machine. Then you can also start an instance of Visual Studio Code directly here. We just press launch and then we wait again for a machine. This time we are running on the interactive partition. It's instead of being a node from the LumiD partition with a GPU, this does not have a GPU allocated at all. So it will use less resources for your job. And this takes a little bit to start, but usually it will start within a minute. There we go. Connect to Visual Studio. In here, you will have a Visual Studio Code as you would on any other machine. It's just in your browser instead. All the shortcuts works as you would expect it. If you're used to Visual Studio Code, there are, as you can see, shortcuts here. For example, open folder, I can press Control KO, and I will get the option to open any folder on my on the disk that I have access to, and then find my code in here or whatever script I have. It's just a test script just to see something in Visual Studio Code. It loads quite quickly and works as you would expect. You can also have a terminal running here where you can test your programs, compile and everything if you need to do that. Module load is also available. You can load any module in LUMI that you would expect to have. So you can load in your libraries whatever you need. And then next to having Visual Studio Code on the system, and we also have support for Jupyter, Julia, and TensorBoard. For Jupyter, you would need to, if you want any extra Python environments, currently you will have to use a virtual environment. That is not necessarily the best way of running Python on the system, but that is what we currently have. And you specify your virtual environment path in the job settings as you would do with the other jobs where they have special settings. And then you press launch, and then you get a Jupyter shell, like Jupyter notebook. You just do that without any it's getting started. Let's just wait a little bit. So we get a Jupyter lab. If it was working. There we go. Yeah, so we get a Jupyter lab where we can go in and run our Jupyter notebooks. And you would get exactly what you would expect from a Jupyter notebook. If you have the Python environments you want, you also get, of course, the packages you want. And I think that was a quick introduction to the LUMI web interface. I don't think I want to say much more, because I would also like to hear your feedback and your questions about this, so we can improve it as much as possible, because currently we don't have much, but we also would like to have the tools and apps that you would like to run in the system. We have time to develop stuff for you. So, or not develop stuff for you, but develop apps that are that you would like, and therefore your feedback is very valuable to us.